In this video, we're going to show you what we believe is the easiest way to install drawer fronts. Hey guys, welcome back. On this channel, our goal is to help you create the home that you love with the money you have. And we have been installing drawer fronts on our new cabinets. Well, I say new, they are new to us because we have basically refaced our cabinet doors and our drawer fronts. We've built new drawer fronts and new drawer boxes. So it's a little bit tricky to get your hardware lined up. One of the things that I like to do is I just take and I make a small template that is already pre-drilled for the dimensions and the sizes of the hardware. That takes the guesswork out of that part of it, and I basically make this the size here that will, this is a block that will drop down into this recessed portion of these shaker style drawer fronts. Now that we've got this template where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drill out the holes for the hardware. Now this is very important to take a little bit of time and get this right. All of these little measurements, they really matter. It's also really easy, especially in like a shaker style door or drawer front. There are a lot of lines. So basically you got lines going up and down and lines going horizontal. And so you want to make sure that you get all of this stuff straight and perfect, because if it's out, you're going to kind of notice it because everything is going to kind of follow a pattern. Add this drawer front, it needs to land pretty close to straight even with where the cabinet below it, the door lands. So just take a piece, something like that, and just make a little mark so that you have an idea of about where that's going to land. Then on this top side here, I knew that my drawer fronts are about an inch bigger than the opening of this drawer. So all I did was I just kind of split the difference. I'm going to go with about a ½ inch here, ½ inch down there, and that's just going to help me line this up. So now when I get ready to do this, I'm going to take it up here, I'll get it about to that mark, I'll bring it over here to about this mark. Hopefully that looks pretty right to your eye. Part of the problem though sometimes, and we ran into this on a different drawer earlier, is that sometimes everything's not perfect in your house. You have to pick either what looks right to your eye or what is level. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screw and I'm going to use this hardware hole as a holding point. Okay, now I only put one in because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to step back, I'm going to look at everything, and I'm going to make sure it looks right to the eye, make sure nothing looks too wonky. Up close, it's a little bit hard to tell. You need to be able to step back a little bit and look at it. That's where you'll see something if something's a little bit messed up. And this allows me to be able to move this on this other edge, whichever way I need it to go, if it needs to go up or down or whatever. So now our drawer front is basically installed temporarily. Next step is we're going to grab some screws and we'll screw this in from the inside toward the outside. Well, the key here is to not go through. So you want to make sure you don't go all the way through the front. The other key is I like to take and I like to try to angle this bit out a little bit, because I'm doing a shaker style door, so these outside edges are thicker than the center panel. If you really wanted to get really persnickety about this, you could use some different screws. We're just using some simple 1-inch black screws here, nothing fancy. They do make some screws that have a bigger washer head that would be better for this, but this is what we had on hand. And honestly, once they're in, you're never really going to see them anyway. So next up, we'll remove these screws. Then we're going to take a block, put it behind here. The reason we do this is because now we're going to drill this out. When we drill this out, to keep this from blowing out on the back side and splintering out, just put a block back there, hold it, keep your finger out of the way, and drill that through. And you won't have all that splintering on the back side. And you'll feel it go through. So the screws for our drawer pulls are too long, and so It did come with a shorter one, but they're too short. So we're kind of stuck in a pickle. A lot of people don't realize this, but your wire strippers actually have a couple of threaded holes on here. This particular set from Klein has an 832 and a 632. Basically, you just screw that in there, and then you're just going to, just like you were going to try to cut off a piece of wire or something. When you do, it cuts the screw off. Then, when you unthread it and back it back out, and like right here, I have to get a screwdriver to do this, because normally if you just cut that off with a pair of pliers, it's going to mess the threads up. But when you back this back out, it fixes that messed up thread. Now we're just going to take our screws, go ahead and push those through. These are the screws for the hardware, and then we will attach our hardware. I generally like to tighten these up with a screwdriver or with a lower powered electric screwdriver, just to prevent from tearing anything up on the hardware. There are tons of ways to install drawer fronts, but this is just a way that we like to use. We find that honestly it's about the easiest that there is. It seems that you have a whole lot less of fussing with trying to get everything lined up. You're able to just use those holes from the hardware, screw them in, and then just go from there. It makes it very simple. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. Other than that, you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.